One amazing way to get your book to sell more copies is by getting your book submitted in to win awards. But there's a lot of questions about which awards should you apply for. Well, it depends upon the kind of book that you have and a lot of other factors, and that is what we're going to discuss today. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. So, book awards for self-published authors. Let's get right into it. And I want to make sure I get these correct because some of these awards I have not personally applied for any of my books, but other of the awards I have in fact looked deeply into, and some of them I actually even use to decide which books I'm going to read by looking to see who won the awards. So the first, awards for self-published books. The first one is the Indie Reader Discovery Award. Now, the Indie Reader Discovery Award is an annual award program that recognizes outstanding indie published books across a range of genres. So it doesn't matter really what kind of book you have, you're going to be able to apply for this specific award. The award is judged by a panel of publishing experts, and the winners are announced at the Book Expo America. Okay? And the other thing to remember with this one is winning books receive exposure to literary agents, publishers, and book buyers, helping to launch the careers of independent authors. So this specific one is actually even better because those authors who end up winning this award, it's not just they send you something in the mail, you actually can get in touch with different options to maybe perhaps get your book traditionally published as well with these different people based upon who's winning the thing. The next one is the Independent Publisher Book Awards. Now, the Independent Publisher Book Awards, or IPPY, is an annual book competition recognizing excellence in independent publishing. Now, it's a little bit like the first one because we are still dealing with indie authors or self-publishers. The awards program is open to authors and publishers worldwide who have produced a book that is printed in English and intended for the North American market. Now, keep in mind, some of these book awards are regionally based, and that would be this case where they're looking at specifically targeting North America. Now, the IPPY has more than 90 categories that cover a wide range of genres, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, children's books, and more. Winners receive recognition, exposure, and a chance to boost their book's visibility and credibility. And this is really important with that last line there, because we're really looking at how do we go about boosting our book so it will be in front of more eyes. And book awards are a fantastic way to go about doing exactly just that. Next, the Forward Indies Book of the Year Award. The Forward Indies Book of the Year Award is an annual book competition that honors the best independent published books, which is, again, the same as the other preceding two. The awards program is open to all independent published books, including those from small presses, university presses, and self-published authors. So there's going to be a bit more competition with this particular award. The awards are judged by a panel of librarians and booksellers who evaluate each book based on its editorial excellence, professional production, originality of content, and more. Winners receive recognition and exposure, helping to increase their visibility and sales. Now, this one, in one sense, it has some advantages, but in other sense, it's not exactly the same level of advantages that you get with it because you are going to be competing against more people here. Does that make sense with the university presses and such? So it's not just self-publishers. So you should keep that in mind when you're going to go this particular route. The next one is the Next Generation Indie Book Awards. The Next Generation Indie Book Awards is an annual book competition for independently published books. So the same as the other ones we're looking at. The awards program is open to all independent authors and published worldwide, including small presses, university presses, and self-published authors, which is a lot in common with the last one we just read about. The competition has more than 70 categories covering a wide range of genres, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, memoir, and more. The winners receive recognition, exposure, and a chance to boost their book's visibility and credibility. Now, the thing you're keeping in mind with this is that notice that we didn't have a lot of the same level of caliber of people where they were going to do the award ceremony, and people would be looking who perhaps would look at possibly traditionally publishing your books. So that's another thing to remember, but maybe that would decrease some of the competition you'd be facing. Okay? The next one is the Best Indie Book Award. Now, the Best Indie Book Award may refer to the specific book award is created by a particular organization or individual to recognize excellence in independent publishing. The criteria and submission guidelines for the Best Indie Book Award, it would depend on the specific award program and also from one year to another, so it's not always the same. And there's really no widely recognized authors and publishers interested in competing for independent book awards. So it gives you a lot of options, because like some of the ones we were talking about earlier, like IPPY or Forward Indies and some of these other ones, these are ones you're going to want to definitely compare the Best Indie Book Award. Now moving along, the National Indie Excellence Awards. Now, the National Indie Excellence Awards, or NIEA, is an annual book competition recognizing independent authors and publishers for excellence in publishing. So we saw a little bit of that in the previous ones. The awards program is open to books from all genres and categories, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, children's books, and more. Now, some of the ones we're going to hit a little bit later on are going to be isolated, focusing on specific genres, okay? And the awards are judged by a panel of experts from various fields, okay, that are going to be going through there, and the winners receive recognition, exposure, right? And they're going to have that visibility and credibility. This is just such an important point, I think, with a lot of the different competitions that you're going to be putting your books in. When you're weighing the different advantages and disadvantages of them, you just have to pay attention to, well, is it exactly your kind of book? Who's going to be judging the book? Like some of them we could see it was like librarians that would be the ones doing these specific judges. And in other cases, it would be, it could be your peers, or it could be a larger group of people that would be doing the judging. So it sort of depends, and that's why you really need to figure out which one's going to work best for you. The next is the Eric Hoffer Book Award. Now this one is an annual book competition that honors independently published books for exceptional merit, like the previous ones in the same sense. The awards program is open to all independently published books, including self-published and books from small presses, academic presses, and other non-traditional publishing houses, which means as long as it's not traditionally published, then you're set, right? And then they're also going to be doing the exact same awards program that you get with winning the award. You get the same visibility that you did on the other ones. Moving along, the Writer's Digest Self-Published eBook Award. Now, this one is an annual competition that honors outstanding self-published ebooks, right? And so now it's interesting because this time we're now looking at ebooks. Some of the other ones did not actually say on that. And this is open to all self-published authors in a variety of genres, including fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. And then it's also going to give you then the same advantages that if you happen to win this award, you're going to be able to use that in order to leverage more sales for your book and getting that visibility you need. Hopefully building your email list. You should have a lead magnet in your book so that you make sure that you're able to expand even the competition itself can help expand the number of people on your email list, which will help you with your reviews and such. The final one in this particular category is the Rubery Book Prize. Now this is an international book award that celebrates independently published books from around the world, and the awards program is open to all independent authors, so as well as including some of these independent houses. Just as long as it's not traditionally published, then you're set, and you're going to be able to get the exposure that you're going to need from this particular award, like we saw on some of the other ones. Now, moving on to the next category, awards for unpublished manuscripts. So the first one is the Autumn House Prize for Fiction. And this one's an annual book award honoring outstanding work of fiction. Now, see, this is where we're starting to get into specific genres or specific things that they're going to do it. And it's open to fiction writers regardless of nationality or publication history. And you're going to be able to use this, right? The awards are judged by a panel of esteemed writers and editors as opposed to librarians, which maybe is positive or negative. It depends upon what type of audience your books are written to, who evaluate the manuscripts based on their literary quality, originality, potential for publication. Winners receive a cash prize and a publishing contract with Autumn House Press, and this is the reason why it's for unpublished manuscripts. So these are for books for which you haven't even published the book, and these houses wish to get the first chances at these amazing books that you're writing. Okay, so this contest isn't just about winning some sort of a monetary prize, but actually getting your book published by one of these houses here. The next one is the Nielsen Literary Prize, and this is an annual book award honoring outstanding unpublished manuscripts in poetry, fiction, and nonfiction, right? And it's open to all writers, regardless of your history or nationality or residence, publication history. So it doesn't even matter. None of those things matter. They're simply going to ignore it, okay? And the awards are judged on a panel of esteemed writers and editors, just like we had in that last one, who evaluate the manuscripts based on the same things we were looking at before. But the winners receive cash prizes and a publishing contract with the Southeast Missouri State University Press. So they're going to help you publish your book through their publishing house they have at the university there. So that's also something to take in mind. Now, the next category is awards for traditionally published books. Now, I know I told you self-published, but these are some of my favorites in terms of using them to figure out some of the best books that are on the market. So the first one would be National Book Awards. The National Book Awards, it's one of the most prestigious book awards in the United States, honoring outstanding works of fiction, nonfiction, and poetry as translated literature and young people's literature. The awards program, it's open to all American authors. Now you see there's where the limitation part starts to come in here a little bit, right? American authors, regardless of whether they are published by traditional or independent presses, right? The awards are judged by a panel of esteemed writers and all of these, and the winners receive recognition, exposure, and a cash prize. So this one doesn't get you it because you've already published the book, and that's something to remember, right? And also this is for traditionally published books, is the key focus there. Then the next one is the International Impact Dublin Literary Award. And this one is a prestigious annual literary award that recognizes outstanding works of fiction in any language as long as they are available in English translation. So that's the only restriction. So just make sure you have an English version, which you should have anyways, because look at the size of the English-speaking market. It is massive. They are buying books by the dozen. People are buying them up like crazy. And so it's really important, no matter which language you do your book in, make sure you at least have it also in English, okay? And that'll also make you eligible for this award if you happen to have a traditionally published book. The awards program is open to books normally nominated by public libraries from around the world, and it's judged by a panel of independent judges. And there you can get yourself a cash prize and international recognition for your book. The next one is the Encore Award. And the Encore Award, it's an annual literary award that recognizes outstanding second novels published in UK and Ireland. Now there's an important point right there. So if you're in the US, I'm sorry, you're not eligible for this particular one. And the awards program is open to authors who have previously published a novel. So that's why they call it the second, right? And their second novel must have been published in the previous year. So they don't want you to apply for a book you put out 10 years ago. It's got to be in the last year for that second book. And the award is judged by a panel, again, of the same usual suspects with the writers and critics and such as they're going through it, right? And the winner receives cash prizes and recognition. The next one is Women's Prize for Fiction. Now I'll give you a hint. It's probably not a bunch of guys applying for this one here. Women's Prize, it's an annual literary award that celebrates and promotes outstanding fiction written by, well, women, right? From around the world. Well, that makes complete sense. The awards program is open to novels written in English, regardless of the author's nationality. But you see, they do need to have it in English, and you need to be a woman if you wish to do it. And it's going to be judged by, again, other editors and authors and writers and such. And you will get a cash prize if you happen to win this particular award. Then the Booker Prize. And the Booker Prize is one of the most prestigious literary awards in the world, honoring outstanding work of fiction written in English and published in the UK. So there's 3 more constraints on it, right? And it's open to all authors who are citizens of the UK, Commonwealth, or the Republic of Ireland, as well as authors who have written in English and have been published in the UK. And it's judged, again, by the same people as the previous one. Then we have the Penn Hemingway Award for Debut Novel. That would be like your first one, right? And so it's an annual literary award recognizing outstanding first novels written by American authors. There's our 2. Has to be your first novel, and you have to be an American author. And the awards program is open to all American authors who have published a first novel in the previous year. So you cannot do this if it's been a really long time ago. And the award is judged by the same people, the previous one, with a reward of a cash prize and all of the recognition that you get. And the final one in this category is the PEN, or Penn Open Book Award. And it's an annual literary award recognizing outstanding works of literature written by authors of color. Okay, so this would be for people with white skin, not so much one you would want to apply for. And the awards program is open to all authors of color who are citizens or residents of the United States, there's the next one, and have published a book in the previous year. So if those 3 things match you, then this could be definitely for you. And you stand to earn a cash prize and getting recognition, which could result in additional sales for your book. And then there's some specific, now we already had some general genres that we were hitting, but here's some genre-specific ones. Like in horror, it'd be the Bram Stoker Award, and it's a literary award recognizes outstanding works of horror fiction and poetry written in English. And it's open up to all authors who write horror fiction and poetry that has been done in the last year. So that's another important one, and it's judged by a whole bunch of people. And the winner receives, here's the key, a recognition from the Horror Writers Association and their peers in the horror writing community, which is fantastic. And then here comes one that I like to use when trying to figure out books to read, and it's the Science Fiction Fantasy, the Hugo Award. And the Hugo, it's an annual award and recognizes the outstanding works of science fiction and fantasy. So this is like a really powerful one when you're trying to find a book to read. I definitely like to use the Hugo Award, and it's open to all writers who've published works of science fiction in fantasy in the last year. And what do you get? Well, the winners are going to receive recognition from the World Science Fiction Society and their peers in the science fiction and fantasy writing community, who recognize them as having won this award. That is a huge accomplishment if you ever happen to win it. But there's not just one, there's another one, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Award, the Nebula Awards. I actually use both Hugo and Nebula when I'm trying to decide. And it's an annual one that recognizes outstanding works of science fiction and fantasy, just like the last one was a little bit, right? And it's open to all writers who've published one of these science fiction books, right? And here's the one in the previous year, and are members of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America organization. You have to also be a member of the organization itself if you wish to go this route. But what are you going to get? Well, the winner receives a recognition from the peers of the science fiction and fantasy writing community. So you're not really getting so much on that front, but this is like a massive award for that. Then you have the LGBT Lambda Literary Awards, and it's an annual literary award recognizing outstanding works of literature written by and for the LGBTQ community. And these awards, it's open to all authors who have published works that reflects the LGBTQ plus experience in the previous year. And what do we get? You get for this particular one, you see, you get the winners receive recognition for their achievement and their contribution to LGBTQ plus literature. So that's another thing to keep in mind on that one, if your book happens to fall in that category. Now, in terms of children's books, we have the Newbery Medal. And this one's also, it's an annual award for outstanding works of children's literature written by American authors. You have to be an American to do it. And the awards program is open to all authors who have published works of children's literature in the previous year. And you're going to just get recognition for your book, which can, in fact, make the difference. Then you have Christian fiction, the Christie Awards. It's another annual one for outstanding works of Christian fiction. And it's open to all authors who have published in the last year a book on Christian fiction. And so the winners receive recognition for their achievement and their contribution to the field of Christian literature. So that could also be something that would be worth trying to achieve as well. Then you have for political writing, it'd be the Orwell Prize. So, and this one gives you for political writing, including books and journalism and essays. So that's like a really big deal as well, and it's an annual prize. Or for mystery, the Edgar Awards, like Edgar Allan Poe, I'm guessing. And it also does an annual one based on mystery, fiction, nonfiction, and television. So it really is expansive on this one. So it really gives you the ability to get out there, and there's no specific awards that we found on that one. And for crime writing, it's the Daggers. And it's again an annual one recognizing outstanding works of crime writing, including fiction and nonfiction. So it's a little bit broader, but you have to have done it also within the last year. And for romance, it's the Rita Awards. And the Rita Awards, it's an annual literary award recognizing outstanding works of romance fiction in various subgenres, including contemporary, historical, paranormal, romantic, suspense. And so it really hits a lot of the different ones there, and you do your contribution that way. And so if you win it, it's not like you get a contract, but it's definitely worth getting it just in terms of getting your name out there and finding new readers. For young adults, the Michael L. Pence Award, a lot of the same things that we had on the other ones, and the winners receive recognition of their achievement, their contribution. And so to the field there, because the award's named in honor of Michael L. Pence. He was a school librarian and advocate for young adult literature who passed away in 1996. And then for young adult debut, that would be the Morris Award, and that would be people for their debut works of young adult fiction, okay? And it's honoring Morris, a celebrated book editor and advocate for young adult literature. He was passed away in 1996. Seems like a lot of them passed away then, right? So, and it'll be judged by a panel of industry professionals and such. So, with no particular awards there, but just keep in mind, if you win these books, you can use that as a basis in your book blurbs, on your book covers. You can use it all over the place in order to establish the validity of your books. So as you can see, there's a really wide range of books that you have as options that you can try to win, and try to research a little bit closer. What does it take? What are they looking for? And the best way to do that is to look at the previous winners of these exact contests and then figure out, is your book a book that looks like those winners? Because if it does, these may be the ones you're going to want to enter your book in. But my question for you today is, have you ever entered your book to win an award in a book award contest? And if you did you win? And I want to know below in the comments, because it will help me understand better where exactly you're at in the self-publishing journey. And check above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.